Hi, welcome to another class. I hope you've been enjoying the lesson so far. Please subscribe if you're new to the channel, and if you find the channel interesting, educative, valuable, please share and leave your comments in the section. Also, subscribe as well and press the like button so that whenever we post any new educational videos, you'll be notified. On this channel, the goal is to actually help to create a mindset shift as it pertains to healthy, fulfilling marriage or long-term relationships. I understand not everybody wants to be married. Not everybody has the mindset of the marriage mindset, if you may put it that way. But the goal is whichever route or route you want to take, it's important for you to know how to do that in a very healthy way. My philosophy, whenever I am teaching my students and I am dealing with clients, I'm very interested in reminding them that life is only one shot. So the the most suitable way or however you want to do it, always have the mindset that this is one shot and you're not here forever. So make the best use of every opportunity you have at any given time. Without wasting much of your time, I'm going to dive right into today's topic is the difference between biological and your psychological age and how it can actually affect or reflect in your marriage or in your romantic relationship. A lot of the time, we don't understand the psyche behind how people view things. And that can be frustrating when you are in a romantic relationship because you wish you have this magic wand to quickly change people's perspective in terms of how you view or the lens you use to view life in general. So the reason why I want to actually, I'm very interested in this topic is just so I can also add value and create insights to people who may always never seem to understand how somebody might be in their 40s, in their 50s, in their 60s. Ideally, they look like they are old enough to know certain things, but unfortunately, that's not always the case just because they seem to have a different, mindset. In as much as I'm giving information or valuable information about marriage and relationship in general, I'm also very keen and interested in mindset shift because that would change the game for most people in marriage or in relationships. Like you already know, the purpose of this channel is to promote healthy, love lasting, long lasting, love filled marriage and long term relationships. So, a lot of the time people just associate people's emotional intelligence with the level of their age. In terms of their age is so different to your psychological growth because some people are still stuck in their 2 year olds, people are still stuck in their childhood just because they haven't grown past their life experiences. And that is the reason why I want to be able to hopefully deliver this lesson in such a way that you can make sense out of it, because all of this would manifest in your relationship and that can be frustrating. So we are going to be mainly focusing on those two differences. So biological and psychological age, they are very different, like I already stated in from the first slides. But I'm going to give you 5 key differences so you're able to, however, um, simplify how how this could manifest in your relationship, and hopefully you're able to have a different approach on how you navigate your relationship or your marriage. So number one is the definition and the basis. When we look at the biological age, it pretty much looks at you know your physical or physiological state in terms of your body, your organs. Of course, you would imagine that someone who is older will have a more weaker organs or weaker, body wrinkles and all of that, compared to someone who is in let's say in their 20s, their muscles seem firm, even though you go to the gym. But of course, you can't compare. You can't easily compare somebody who is younger and someone who is older. So it's pretty much looks at the physical attributes, physical or tangible attributes of human existence or nature. You know, whereas the psychological one looks at your psyche, pretty much your um your mental health or your emotional, how well you function emotionally. So it's non-physical, it's intangible, if we want to have like a clear distinction of the two. So I understand you don't have access to your heart, your lungs, and your muscles, so but pretty much it's how you develop from your physical, you know, existence. Whereas the psychological is pretty much your mental, your emotional intelligence, how developed that is, how stable that is. Again, there are two different distinctions, and that's why it's always very challenging when you see somebody who is certain age and they're acting in certain ways. You just can't fathom why this is the case, and that is why I'm doing this video. Another point to look at is the measurement method. So biological age, for example, you will typically measure that through your medical test and your biomarks, or makers. You know, you're looking at the blood pressure, you're looking at your cholesterol level, your DNA, and other psychological indicators. Whereas the psychological age pretty much is measured through your psychological tests, questionnaires or self-report questionnaires, observation, cognitive performances. So these are just looking at emotional maturity pretty much, how you interact, how you reason, how you analyze things. Say, for example, someone might just easily look at, let's say, for example, you're looking to get married and someone who is a single parent, and you maybe stereotyped in your community or in your religion, or just you in general, you might just judge it based on, oh, this person is a single father or it's a single mother, I'm not going to just deal with them. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you have that emotional level of emotional intelligence, the way you're going to process it or access certain information will be different. You're going to analyze it based on completely different set of mindset. So that might not be a very good example when it comes to just trying to, explore someone's emotional intelligence, but it reflects in how you reason, how you communicate, how you solve problems, how you dialogue. You know. So another way is to look at the impact on lifestyle. So with biological age, for example, we are looking at the physical activities such as your diet, the kind of food you eat, your sleeping pattern, your overall health maintenance, performance. Do you regularly exercise, or do you go to the gym once in a while, or do you just, are you into um, body movement of some sort? Do you have a healthy, balanced diet? So all of this will have, some level of positive or negative impact on your biological age, your weight. Then on the psychological side of things, when you're looking at the impact on your lifestyle, you are looking at, in general, your social relationships. Are you engaging in long-term learning? Are you, how are you growing your mind? What do you watch? What do you listen to? How do you live your life on a day-to-day? What's your mindset? What kind of people do you hang around with? What's your stress level? So this can contribute to a more younger psychological age, depending on how well you feed your soul. Then the reversibility when it comes to biological age, you can reverse it in a medical context. You know, just having a lifestyle change, pretty much. Start having more healthy, balanced diet, workout lifestyle. All of this can have positive attribution to how your physical age turns out, and that's why you may have seen or heard of. You might even be the person And they say, oh, maybe you tell someone you're in your 50s or in your 60s. They look at you like, wow, you don't look your age. Maybe because you've taken good care of yourself. That in itself focuses more on your physical, your biological age. Because they humans eyes or experience, overall kind of have an imagination of how someone in their 30s should look, someone in their 20s. So you can see that some people may look much older just because of their life experiences. Maybe they've had a very stressful life, most of their lives. So that could come across to them in how they look from the outward perspective, whereas the physical perspective will focus more on how they reason, how they communicate, how they deal with real issues, how they navigate, talking to people. That they have a certain level of empathy. So, whereas the psychological age, you can also enhance that through going to therapy, having some mental health practices. You have a positive outlook to life in general. That can help you to. That's why, again, once again, if I were to use the same example of you telling someone that you're 60 years old or 70 and they look at you like, no way, you still look like you're in your 30s or in your 20s. Same with people, if they have a young mindset, they will come across in that, regard, and you'll be like, oh my God, you look old, but you can actually relate with people in their teens, in their 20s, in the millennials, the Gen Zs, and all of those kind of people, like much younger people. So, lastly, the correction with chronological age. So, biological age, for example, you always it kind of correlates with, of course, chronological age and with your biological age. Sorry. So, your actual age, your genetic types as well, because some people just have this genetic or their genes, they just look young, they never get wrinkles, they look firm, they look slim. So it could also be tied down to your to that aspect of your life. And the psychological age, on the other hand, um, just like I said, is more about your psyche, you know, your emotional development. So all of this kind of forms how you can distinctively differentiate between your psychological age and your physical age or biological age. Because the thing is, sometimes you see certain people, you can actually like kind of have a cool positive correlation between their psychological age and their biological age, because they kind of represent what their current status or current situation is. So how does this actually show up or manifest itself in a relationship? It can manifest itself on different levels. So I'm going to go down through 5 points I have also crafted. Number one is the health and vitality. Of course, somebody who, if you look at someone's biological age, of course, you're going to be looking at their body stature, how they look in the moment. So, of course, since we are talking about the aesthetics, pretty much on the physical state of the person in terms of their mind and their organs. Of course, you can't see the organs, you can only see the physical attributes. So, the difference when it comes to biological age, this can affect couples' lifestyle, the kind of choices they make, and how compatible this is to them on a day-to-day basis, in terms of the activities they do, their long-term health planning. Um, so if you are someone who you maintain a decent, health balance, let's say you don't drink, you don't smoke, you are very, focused on exercising and eating healthy, you having to align yourself with someone who may not be interested in. There's a difference between someone who would like to, but at the moment maybe they are not in that headspace. But it's something they don't have issues with, because the fact that you're exercising and eating healthy and I'm not there yet doesn't mean that we may not be compatible. So being compatible does not always mean that, we have to be in it. As long as it's not affecting the other person, that means you can consider yourself compatible. So it does not always reflect that I have to be doing exactly what you're doing for us to align. So another point would be emotional maturity. So this refers, of course, to the emotional and the mental, maturity, the overall emotional intelligence of an individual. So how is it different, or how does that reflect in a marriage? The way you handle conflicts, the way you communicate, the way you give each other grace, the way you tend to understand when your partner is going through challenges or difficult times. All of this can help to build more connection and intimacy between the two of you. If you are dealing with someone who, say, for example, you understand the importance of finance in a marriage, you people have children, and every time you're constantly telling them, you don't even have to explain to them the importance of them going to get a job and contribute financially within the home. If you're dealing with someone who does not see the importance, they just feel like what you have in the moment is just more than enough. Of course, you're going to have a lot of issues, but when you understand that the fact someone is maybe older than you, 10 years, 20 years older than you, but they don't understand what real responsibility looks like, they don't understand what marriage looks like, they don't understand their roles and responsibilities within the marriage, and you have to baby them and kind of teach them to understand. Sometimes it can, build resentment between the two couples, because it's as if you are trying to be their parents, and that's not what they are looking for in the marriage. They're looking for a partner, not someone to tell them what to do. So that's why it's really important for you to understand, the difference, because a lot of people will say this grown person may be stuck in their childhood. So having to have clarity that the fact someone is in their 50s does not mean that their psyche is mature and developed. So you have to be able to access both, especially when it's so clear or distinct, when you see certain people act, you know, very different to their age. It kind of gives it away. So it's very important for you to know that this will manifest itself in your relationship as well. So your life stage and your priorities is very key. So when there is clear distinct or difference between your psychological and your biological age, it means that both of you are at different stages in your life. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people who have married people way younger or way older, they've managed to align and work things through. But this is not for everybody, because one is in a different spectrum of their life. Maybe they are focusing more on career advancement and the other person is about to be retired. There is some dynamics and, the in between for both of you to truly work things out in a very healthy way. So again, it's situation by situation. The only reason for this module is just to give you the exposure, so you don't knock yourself down wondering why you are dealing with someone who may be stuck in their manhood or their womanhood. So again, this will reflect itself in how you people handle and converse with one another. Parenting and family planning. So for couples who may be considering, a family, your biological age is crucial, especially when it comes to fertility. Of course, clearly it's not just for the men but for the women as well. So again, your physical demands for parenting, of course, when you have young babies and especially toddlers, and you are supposed to be in somewhat shape or form fit to, address their needs. It could be you playing around, you know in the field or around the house or in the park. You're physically able to do that. Of course, once again, there's no one size fits all, but it's really important for you to have this consideration before you go into any serious relationship and you're stuck wondering what's going on. because you're completely lost. So, certain times, sometimes you hear people say, I'm not ready for marriage. And you ask them, how old are you? And they tell you their age, and you're just confused. You're even lost that they're not even thinking of marriage. It's almost as if I think from my calculation or from my dictionary, in fact, you're over qualified to be married. Again, you have to weigh the psychological and the biological age for you to perhaps ascertain or even consider that, come to that conclusion. So, awareness of this aspect can assist you in making informed decisions, especially when it comes to you adding your life to or bringing someone into your life. Excuse me, social interaction and interest. Your psychological age will influence your interests, your hobbies, excuse me, and your social interactions. When there's a mismatch, of course, there will be a conflict. So all of these differences will help both of you to have common ground on how to maintain your social lives together. A relationship dynamics, again, every relationship has its own dynamics, whether it's biological or psychological age, but there's this effect of power dynamics and the dependencies within the relationship. Say, for example, a younger person, of course, biological age with a higher psychological age might result in one partner taking on more nurturing role. So awareness of all this will help you to maintain equitable balance. So all of this will help you to have a more harmonious partnership, because a lot of the time people are just dead confused. Like, why do I have to tell you everything? Like, you literally are not using your brain, so you can't do nothing without me telling you what to do. Um, just because they are focusing on your psychological, sorry, on your biological age. Because ideally, for someone who is of that age, you should almost, it seems as if, common sense. You should be doing certain things by this time. Like, you're old enough to know. Like, I don't have to tell you, I'm not your mother, I'm not your father. But yes, it's just because you're negating their psychological age, because there might be a mismatch in that regards. I hope that some of the knowledge you have gained today would help you to actually have greater empathy and sympathy and leniency, when it comes to your relationship, especially if you're one of the people experiencing that currently in your marriage as well. I hope this will help you, just give you the knowledge and information you need to see how you can operate differently. Thank you as always. I hope this is actually a valuable lesson for you if you're watching. Please share my videos and subscribe. Once again, thank you so much, and continue to enjoy the rest of your day.